As long as you focus on the energy and you set that in the right direction and you keep your focus on the members, you keep the focus on the impact you're having, the finances will come by themselves. But of course, they work together. We believe that we will grow immensely going forward because we can see the attraction for our offering. But we believe that we'll need our employees to be on that journey. However, when growing, we want to grow with AI. So we want to keep being the small company with a small company culture, but then having AI agents and AI work for us so we can become a big company in the impact we're having on the world.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Devico Breakfast Bar. Here we speak with different people involved in the business landscape, share their expertise, delve into the latest tech trends, and explore the ins and outs of IT outsourcing. I'm Oleg Sadikov, and today I'm excited to have Filip Wiqvist, the CEO at Bruce Studios. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss new episodes. Hi Phil, and thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Oleg. Thank you for having me today.
Let's start our podcast with a little blitz. I start a sentence and you continue. My position as CEO gave me
the opportunity to create change for society.
My position as CEO deprived me.
Always kind of be able to be the authentic Filip.
My main superpower is
my ability to catch the emotional space in people and companies.
My main weakness is
my patience.
When I'm afraid, I
get stressed.
What inspired you, the creation of Bruce Studios? Was there a specific problem or gap that you wanted to address?
Bruce Studios was created in 2015. At that time, they felt that kind of the way of working out with the gym was a bit too rigid, and it didn't kind of actually reflect on how we live in society today and how we move. So there was kind of a gap in the market. It's a similar space as Spotify in regards of artists and albums in the music industry. So people wanted freedom, variety, and quality, and then Bruce was created to be able to kind of to support that change, and has been growing ever since.
You have worked across industries like telecom, renewables, and FMCG. Yeah. What lessons have you carried over to your work?
That's a good question. I had the opportunity to work in telecom when the first iPhone came in 2006, and the telecom market shifted rapidly and it grew. And one thing I learned from those years was kind of to always be customer obsessed. How do you work with always putting the customer in the center of everything you do? And then changing business after a few years, going over to clean tech with the war in Ukraine, etc. The energy markets kind of disrupted rapidly in the whole Europe and bigger parts of the world. And there you could see kind of if you needed to scale something really rapidly, how could you scale that in the best sort of way? And realizing that you need to kind of have your processes and your data in order to be able to scale things rapidly. And then I think finally going into kind of working in these areas and also from personal development, working with the emotional space. How do you create a space where people, both your members, your partners, but especially your employees, feel safe, and you create a space where they can grow and kind of create value together. So I think those three things, and I think that those kind of come together with Bruce as we are kind of putting the customer in the center, as we are working a lot with scaling, and it's about at the end creating a space for everyone where we feel safe and are able to create a more healthier society.
What are the biggest challenges you face when managing and growing a company that works with over 900 locations?
We are currently in 3 different markets, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. There you have kind of 3 different cultures as well. So you need to find some sort of backbone to lean towards to be able to kind of grow. And our backbone is our app, and also the ability that we have kind of with our app to kind of connect it with APIs to all of our studios. Being able to collaborate with our partners and then kind of having our app as the center of everything we do. I think that helps us a lot in being able to grow both previous but also going forward. So we're really proud of our app and the ability to help us to grow with our members and our partners.
You have led SaaS-based digital transformation across industries. How has AI changed the game in that process?
It's going so rapidly. I remember just a few years back starting to work with AI myself, trying to see how I could use it in different settings. And today it's kind of key in everything we do, in how we code, in how we build our processes, and also having people who enjoy growth mindset and kind of have the ability to be part of that quick transformation and once have a curiosity to kind of get the new quarterly updates of AI. I think I have one example within Bruce as we are kind of using it at the moment. We've had a problem with how we onboard new studios. We're onboarding so many new studios and it's going so rapidly. So our bottleneck at the moment is that it's too many manual processes. So here we have a collaboration with a company called Alice Labs, an AI company in Stockholm. So basically they come into us, we're putting up the full partner journey, the full blueprint on how that works. And then we find the bottlenecks, and then we use AI to kind of overtake those bottlenecks and get forward. And we can see that we've improved the fastness and how quick we can onboard new studios with 500% in just a few weeks just by using AI. So that's just an example of how we're using it at the moment.
Wow, that sounds impressive.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. It is.
How do you balance the need for growth with maintaining the core values and quality of the Brew Studio experience?
First of all, we're working with health. So the impact we are having on society is very good. And we're able to attract a lot of people on our journey just by working with health. But I think when you want to scale a company, there's two things that comes down to it. One thing is that you have the financial aspects, and those are important. You need to have the funding. You need to have your finances in order. But the second one that's really more important is the space you're holding up, the energy, the culture, and kind of the impact you're having on society. And I think being able to focus on the energy, as long as you focus on the energy and you set that in the right direction and you keep your focus on the members, you keep the focus on the impact you're having, the finances will come by themselves. But of course, they work together over time. But I think that's kind of the mix that I've succeeded with in the past, and I hope to succeed going forward as well with Bruce.
What do you see as the biggest challenge and opportunity in integrating AI into the customer-centric business operations?
First of all, I'm not loving the word challenge. I'm more like the word opportunity. But of course, there are some challenges, and especially in accordance of adaptation. We've had dialogues with our personnel the last year, kind of how does AI affect the environment? How does AI affect the job opportunities in our company? If people are doing things today and AI will do that tomorrow, are those people less valued at our company? So it's a lot of things to work around. And I think the kind of the communication within Bruce is important for us, that we're not looking at scaling down our organization. We believe that we will grow immensely going forward because we can see the attraction for our offering, but we believe that we'll need our employees to be on that journey. However, when growing, we want to grow with AI. So we want to keep being the small company with a small company culture, but then having AI agents and AI work for us so we can become a big company in the impact we're having on the world, but still being a small company in our culture.
Do you think this is possible?
Yeah, I think maybe I'm a bit naive and a bit optimistic. But I think, the times where you scaled linearly with your employees and your turnaround, that's the turnover, I think those days are over. And I think we have opportunity to work with AI agents today. So I think it's absolutely possible.
What's the biggest mistake you have seen other startups make when trying to scale quickly?
There is kind of a question going back to, do you scale with people or do you scale with smartness? And you can see, especially startups wanting to scale, so they recruit more people, and the more people you get in, people are people, as you know, Oleg. And the more people you get in, the more complexity you get in the organization. So I think it's going back towards to your backbone. What is our product? What is our member? Who are we kind of supporting them? And then really getting catch of your data and understanding the data you have and how to build on that data. Because if you don't have the data, it's going to be really hard to scale. And I've done those mistakes many times before, and I'm still doing it. You don't have the data to back up your decisions and your thoughts. But having focus on your data and not adding too many people too rapidly, but finding those A players in your team, combining the data and A players, I think you have a success story going forward.
Are there specific regions or countries that you find particularly promising for tech talent?
I've been working both with recruiting tech talents in Sweden, but also doing nearshoring from Serbia especially, and then also offshoring and taking in possibilities from India and other places. And I think that one thing which I love about Stockholm and Sweden is the culture of innovation that we're having. So you can see a lot of potential tech people coming up, but they tend to work a bit closer to the product. And then you can combine that with kind of adding cultures from Poland or from Serbia, etc., around Europe. And I find that combination quite interesting, how they work together.
Being based in Sweden, do you notice any unique challenges or opportunities in the tech industry?
I think that's a really good question. At the moment, I don't really see those challenges. One challenge we had a few years ago was that being able to buy someone who could code, you could do that a lot cheaper abroad. But today with AI agents, you could do a lot of that yourself as well. You tend to take that home and get that closer to the member and the customer. So I wouldn't see any risk there at the moment.
What are your thoughts on the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing?
Being in the telco industry, we came to a level where we saw that basically, are we in control of the member experience? We said, yes, we're in control of the member experience. Do we have a competitive advantage in regards of our tech? Yes, we did. But can a partner do this faster, better, or cheaper without eroding on those two first pillars? And at that moment, we thought that that was the case. So we outsourced a lot of our IT to third-party companies, and that worked very well for us. But currently for Bruce, as an example, we're a smaller product company where our culture and our product are very close aligned. So I think it depends on the situation you're in, but you need to know that you're in control of your member journey and you need to be in control of the competitive advantage. If you have those two, I think there's a good circumstances to take external support.
How do you see the role of IT outsourcing evolving in the context of your industry?
It's a matter of growth. Currently, it depends on how you review the industry. If you ask me as a gym chain, I think that is one question, but I'm guessing you're asking me as an aggregator within gym chains and disrupting the training business. And in that aspect, you're going through the different phases. So you have one phase where you go into the innovators, and then you go to the early adopters and early majority, etc. And we're still early on that phase. We're very immature as a whole, and we're growing very rapidly. So in that phase, I think that it's important to have everything pretty close. But as we scale, we will be in a year or two coming to a phase where it's more natural to take outside support to build bigger solutions and also kind of get that knowledge of how to scale rapidly going forward.
In your experience, what are the key factors to consider when deciding whether to outsource a particular function or not?
I think it was back to what I said before. Is this function core to the customer experience? If it is, okay, so first of all, be a bit careful. If you're really good at your customer experience and you have everything in order, that gives an advantage to do that. Also, is this area a competitive advantage for the company? Of course, there will be a risk if you outsource that capabilities. And thirdly, do you find the partner being able to do this more rapidly, faster? And if you find a partner who you get to trust and to have the capabilities to do it faster than you, and it's not aligned fully with the member experience, I think there are good advantages in going that way. But then it needs to be very clear on what you want to achieve and frames you set on how to achieve that, and you have a close collaboration in between you.
As we wrap up our conversation, what advice would you give to companies considering IT outsourcing but concerned about losing control over their technology projects?
You need to have your own things in order, and you need to know your Northern Star. Where are we aiming for? And you need to be able to have an organization that can actually work to set up those frames on how to work with the partner, because there are a lot of good partners out there. I've seen so many cases where you send an order and you say, please do this for us. And then you ask for a ball, and back you got a bottle or something fully differently. And you weren't clear enough on what you actually wanted. So I think being able to communicate what you want and be able to set those frames, and then you could go far with that.
Filip, thanks for joining me today. It was an interesting conversation. I really appreciate you on time to join the video podcast.
Thank you very much, Oleg.
If you enjoy our discussion and want to stay updated on the future episodes, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you will not miss out on the latest insights and conversations from the Devico Breakfast Bar. See you in the next episode.